where, my God, he is back.
Who knows how he's 7-1?
Goshen has a huge chance in the Champion Hurdle.
People already have their mind made up.
It just doesn't look like his head's in the game anymore.
On their day, they are untouchable.
Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend roundup, where myself and Jack go over the weekend's action, any potential star performances, and there were plenty this weekend that we've looked into, and we have to start somewhere very, very special in my heart, and that'll be at Wincanton in the Kingwell Hurdle, where, my God, he is back.
He's back.
He is finally back, and he's better than ever. Goshen won the race, beating Song for Someone by 22 lengths and beating Navajo Pass by, I think, another 10 behind that. And it was just a superb performance. Now, loads of people are saying about this race, saying, look, he hasn't got the chance of beating Epperton and Honeysuckle in the Champion Hurdle. But the horse has beaten a horse who's won the international hurdle at Cheltenham very well, who also beat Silver Streak, where Silver Streak beat Epperton. The form all ties in. I know racing doesn't exactly work like that, but he was literally pulled up with about half furlong to go, with Jamie Moore giving him a pat down the neck. Jack, surely now you can give me a little bit of credit and say that Goshen has a huge chance in the Champion Hurdle.
I do have to applaud you, Sam, because you have been going on about Goshen, and I love him, but I hadn't really been listening to it too much after his Cheltenham performance. And we did say that if he ran well, he'd be cut to 6-1, 5-1, and actually we were spot on there, because he is 9-2 at the moment. But you couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, beating Song for Someone on the bridle or on the snaff, whatever you want to call it, by 22 lengths is nothing to take lightly. And as we said last week, 9-2 we've got now. It's an okay price. I mean, we'll go on to that in a sec. But lots of people were saying that Song for Someone didn't run his race. And I think he may have not run to his best ability, but that was for the reason that he couldn't keep up with Goshen in the early stages. He blew his gasket early and just couldn't keep up with him towards the end. I don't think it was anything to do with him not running his race. Goshen just didn't let him run his race, which is testament to Goshen. But the truth of the matter with Goshen is that people already have their mind made up. Like, the weekend has just kind of just showed how good we already knew he was, but people already have their mind, like their preconceptions of him. They either like him or they don't. They think he's going to win or they don't. And people are just trying to pick holes in him left, right and centre if they don't think he's going to win. Now, lots of people are saying that the time wasn't that impressive, finishing 5 seconds ahead of the novice on the same card. But those same people didn't mention that Honeysuckle was only 2 seconds quicker than in the Ladbrokes Hurdle, which means Sharjah wouldn't have even placed in the Ladbrokes Hurdle, or Epperton finishing 5 seconds ahead of a maiden when he won her fighting fifth. And it's just loads of people trying to pick holes in him left, right and centre, but these same people already have their preconceptions, and they're the ones that you can't really talk to. But there's one thing for certain: destroying the international hurdle winner by 22 lengths, he has a ridiculous chance. He'll probably lead from the front, won't he, with Not So Sleepy? But yeah, I mean, he has a ridiculous chance.
Yeah, well, he sat behind Navajo Pass for most of the way, and just as they turned in, he just crept past him and said, "See you later." Now, I looked at it, and I've heard a lot of discussions about sort of Song for Someone not running his race completely and Navajo Pass not running their race completely. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think Goshen is very similar. If I was to describe him as a flat horse to Gaiath, he just grinds horses into submission. That's probably his best way of running. You know, he'll be up near the front. He might not have the chance to lead in the Champion Hurdle. There'll probably be something at a huge price that goes off ahead of him, but he will sit there right by the front and he will just grind horses into submission, and horses will slowly just come off the bridle with him. And I think he's got a major chance. And it was great to see Jamie Moore praising his dad afterwards. He actually sounded like me, basically calling Gary Moore the god of horse racing. But he's an unbelievable horseman. And to get that horse back to where he is now, and even if there could still be improvement in this horse, that's the thing. You know, that's his first run off a really bad run, and he could come on again for that and be slightly better come March, and we will be previewing that next week. By the way, all of our Cheltenham previews will be out. Tuesday, our day one preview will be out, and then Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, they'll come like that to you. And we've got some excellent guests, which you can go find out on Twitter. And we're really looking forward to getting stuck into that, especially with the Champion Hurdle chat on day one. So very much looking forward to that. But that's mine and Jack's opinion on the Kingwell Hurdle at Wincanton. Okay, let's move to Ascot now, and the one race that we're going to review from Ascot, and that was the Ascot Chase, won by Dashel Drasher, which was a really, really nice performance. And he beat Master Tommy Tucker. Unfortunately, Surname was pulled up in the race. Now, Surname reported afterwards there are a few breathing problems with the horse, and it's probably likely now we're going to see a wind operation for this horse. And we do hope that we see Surname back to his best. Remember, last season he was the highest rated horse in training over the jumps, and I'm hoping that we do get that horse back to where he is. Master Tommy Tucker didn't run a bad race at all. We didn't see too much of the unsensible Master Tommy Tucker. I just think he was beaten by a horse who was on his game on the day, Jack. What did you make of it watching that?
Yeah, it was a nice little performance, wasn't it? I mean, when they came over the last, Dashel Drasher literally crawled over it, and I thought Master Tommy Tucker was there for the taking. I thought he was going to go straight past him, but I mean, Master Tommy Tucker, I think, just hung to the right a little bit, had to be switched right, and by then couldn't really rally anymore. And Dashel Drasher stayed on nicely, but what about Surname, eh? Like, he just like, has he fallen out of love with the game? I just don't know. It's hard to watch him these days. I've seen a few people saying, is it time for him to find some love for the game back over the smaller obstacles? I mean, that's an intriguing thought, but I don't really know where he's going to go next.
Yeah, he's becoming a bit like Lost in Translation, who we'll probably discuss in a minute. A bit of a cliff horse, a horse who, you know, he's won some decent races in the past, and it just doesn't look like his head's in the game anymore. But yeah, Dashel Drasher, a really nice performance. I think Master Tommy Tucker, and you know, you probably won't see Surname now. Wouldn't for you could maybe that's the end of the season with him. But Master Tommy Tucker, I probably expect to be seeing at Aintree next. I wouldn't think that horse would be heading to Cheltenham, but yeah, I'd be looking forward to seeing
What
him.
What about Dashel Drasher? Do you think he'll line up in the Ryanair? Because he's 20-1 for the Ryanair, I saw today.
Well, look, first of all, I probably wouldn't be taking that bet. I wouldn't be too keen on him. There is a chance. I'd probably say, yeah, it'd be worth a chance for a horse like that. You'd go to Cheltenham, and you know we'll be previewing the Ryanair, but I do think it's one of the most open Grade 1 chases of the festival so far, especially with the likes of Min bombing out at during the Dublin Racing Festival. I just think that there are potentially a few decent prices in that Ryanair. I'm sure that we will cover those next week, so do look out for them. But that's our review of the Ascot Chase. Right, we're now going to go over to Saudi Arabia for the flat action from the weekend from Riyadh. Now, it was really, really great to watch Riyadh. I did watch it with open eyes. And just before we get into the Saudi Cup performance, Jack, Space Blues for Will Buick and Charlie Appleby, and also True Self for Willie Mullins and Holly Doyle. How fantastic was it seeing those two win?
Oh, brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, Holly Doyle talking about getting advice from Ruby Walsh. She's just like the match made in heaven, isn't it? Ruby Walsh, Holly Doyle and Willie Mullins. What more could you want? But yeah, Space Blues showed his turn off. It was a nice little performance. I'm looking forward to seeing him next season.
Yeah, Space Blues are a really exciting 7 furlong horse. I've mentioned it a lot of times. There aren't too many horses that are specifically made for 7 furlongs. And it's very difficult, you know, that difference between a sprinter and a mile horse. And he can sit in that sort of 6 furlong bracket, but he's also very, very talented over 7 furlongs. So very excited to see what he does next season. Horse I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on. But the big performance and the big race out there, the $20 million Saudi Cup, won by Mishriff, who beat Charlton, the favourite on the day. As they turned in, Charlton looked to have the break, but Mishriff for John Gosden and David Egan. What a moment. It was so fantastic seeing John Egan out there as well, his father, and the reaction after the race. But what a massive, massive day for that team, and a huge, huge payout. I think I found out, Jack, that horse in one race won the same amount or a bit more than what it would be if you won every UK Group 1. Which is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, watching it was fantastic. What did you make of the Saudi Cup?
Yeah, I mean, when you put those numbers into perspective, when you're talking about prize money for owners, it's absolutely ludicrous, isn't it? But it was a great weekend for father and son combos. Of course, you have Goshen and David Egan with John there. That was brilliant to see, wasn't it? I mean, the way he was talking about John afterwards, it was really nice. And after missing out on the French Derby, it was nice that David Egan actually got the ride. Because he didn't get the ride on Mishriff, but it was nice to see him get his biggest win so far. Of course, he was my selection as well, which makes it all the sweeter. But yeah, Mishriff looks in good order to go to the Dubai World Cup. I think he's installed at the 2-1 favourite, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes next.
Yeah, the Dubai World Cup, and I'm sure this horse might have a bit of a turf campaign as well, but then maybe even the Breeders' Cup Classic on the agenda towards the back end of the season, and looking forward to that. But really fantastic to see the British winning over in Saudi, with Mishriff winning the Saudi Cup. Right, a performance we're going to discuss quickly from Haydock was a very good performance by, a horse that's not going to be heading to the Triumph Hurdle, unfortunately, but that was Monmoral for the Paul Nicholls team, beating Nassalam for the Gary Moore team. Now, Nassalam held in very, very high regard. Remember, at the Welsh national meeting, Adagio beating Nassalam, who, a lot of people can see as one of the biggest British challengers for the Triumph Hurdle. Now, what we've got to look at here is that, Monmoral has beaten Nassalam with ease here. Unfortunately, not going to be heading to Cheltenham, but it looks like a horse who's going to be very good over a fence as well. I know we say that a lot with horses, and it's a bit of a cliche, but Nicholls has got two novices there that are going to be heading over fences, Monmoral and Brave Man's Game, who are going to be very, very talented next season. Now, Jack, with regards to Nassalam, he did look potentially a decent each way price after his second at Chepstow. Do you think that that's it with him now? He's got no hope against the likes of Zanahir and Quilixios in that Triumph?
Yeah, he certainly looks up against it, doesn't he? And the market has said that, and he's now 25-1, I think, pretty much where he was when he won by 60 lengths at Fontwell on his first start or second start. So he's definitely up against it, and I wouldn't really be opting for him at the moment.
Yeah, just a quick discussion with regards to those. So, interesting to see. We're looking forward to seeing Monmoral potentially going to Aintree next. Right, we move on to Super Sunday now. Ed Chamberlain on Twitter saying that it was great to be hosting Super Sunday again. Remember, he used to be hosting the football, but it was a hell of a Sunday of sport on ITV. And with the Denman Chase, Secret Investor for the Nicholls team beating off Clanders Ovo for the Nicholls team, a 1-2 for the yard. Now, it did look, as they went over the last, that Clanders Ovo might just get the better, but Secret Investor, he might not be the best horse in training by a long mean, but he is very, very brave. And Bryony Frost gave this horse an excellent front-running performance. Jack, you were big in praising this horse on Twitter, and also Bryony Frost. She's just fantastic, isn't she?
Yeah, when she leads from the front, she is hard to beat. Like on Frodon, when Frodon just almost jumps out of her hands. But it was a strange old race, wasn't it? I think I've come to the conclusion that Clanders Ovo doesn't like battling for a win. I mean, he either likes being at Kempton or doing it on the bridle, and if it's neither of those and he's not getting his own way, he doesn't really want to have to work for a win. So, Clanders Ovo is almost like surname. Paul Nicholls wasn't really firing, and I don't know, it's hard because Clanders Ovo, like you said, coming over the last, there's only one winner there, but Secret Investor battled on well. But yeah, it was just an odd old race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was, and I think I agree with you there. I think that he doesn't seem to find too much off the bridle. Clanders Over. I don't know whether he's potentially. I think would it be the Aintree Bowl that he'd probably go to next?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that would be the likely place he goes because he's not going to go to Cheltenham either. But a flat track like Aintree could suit this horse, and looking forward to seeing him there. But Secret Investor, a very, very talented performance there, and a great ride by Bryony Frost. And lost in translation, Jack. We've said it many, many times, and on this channel and also on previous podcasts, but I just think he's a horse that is very much gone at the game, and you couldn't back him to save your life anymore.
No, not at all. To be fair, like the first quarter of the race, I thought, wow, he's actually jumping and travelling okay here. But the longer the race went on, like he went backwards so fast. He just regressed so fast. And I mean, when you look at last year, how does a horse finishing third in a Gold Cup come to where we are now? Like, there's no way that should be it. I know it was a lot of people's picks for the Gold Cup this year, but it's just really, really frustrating to see. I don't really know what they're going to do with him next because I know he's had a lot of problems. But yeah, it's not nice, is it?
No, it really isn't. It's a shame to see. And obviously, the Colin Tizard Farm yard haven't been in fantastic form this season, but I just think he's not quite as good as everyone thinks he is nowadays, and it is a shame to see. But hopefully he does come back to his best in some mean or other. Maybe next season he'll win a couple of sort of grade 2, grade 3 chases. We'll just have to see, and hopefully the Tizard yard find form again. But that's our review of the Denman Chase. Right, before we discuss the big performance from the week and the one that everyone's going mad about in Champ, we will just quickly review the Betfair Hurdle, which was won by Soaring Glory for the John Joe O'Neill Jr. and John Joe O'Neill doubled. That was a great performance, Jack. I was really impressed by this, but he's beaten some really good handicapped horses here, and he's been entered into the Supreme. They haven't ruled it out, but they've also mentioned Aintree as well. So we don't know where this horse is going. 50 Ball put in a really good effort for the Gary Moore team. And there was one horse that did travel really strongly that I thought, do you know what, he's going to go and win this at a big price. That was Time White. I don't know if you saw that for the Paul Nicholls team. About 2 out, he was literally the only one on the bridle. And I thought, God, Harry Cobden's doing his typical thing, holding him up and then going bang. Didn't seem to find much, which was a shame, but I have taken note of that horse and I'll be intrigued to see what they do with him next. But Jack, what did you make of the winner's performance, Soaring Glory? Do you think that he has a major chance after a race like that where they finished in not a heap, but he hasn't exactly gone away from everyone? Do you think he's got a chance in that Supreme?
Well, it broke my heart that 50 Paul can do the business, but it was a nice performance from Soaring Glory, don't get me wrong, but he's 12-1 for the Supreme now. I think that's pretty short considering the kettle of fish he's going to get at the Supreme is a lot different to the Betfair. And of course, Betfair Hurdle winners have a terrible record in it. But the performance and the result afterwards of him being 12-1 highlighted two things to me. One, how dire the British contingent is in the Supreme. Now, it's got to be one of the worst in many years. You've got Metier, who's somehow clinging on to second favourite. Who knows how he's 7-1. And then you've got Soaring Glory at 12s. Now, it absolutely dumbfounds me how Messier is 7-1, but I think 12-1's a little bit short for Soaring Glory, and that also highlights the lack of the depth in the Supreme. I mean, outside Appreciate It and Ballyadam, it's a pretty dire affair, isn't it? I mean, it's annoying because there's definitely value at 40-1, 50-1, somewhere in there, like LeBake when he won. But it's just hard to see where it is at the moment because you know that there's going to be something at a big price which either gets in the frame or even puts in a scare to one of the guys at the top of the market. But it's pretty hard to see where it comes from at the moment. But I think Soaring Glory, if I'm being honest, doesn't really have a hope in hell.
Yeah, and I think, we'd love to be able to try and praise the British sort of, entries for the Supreme. We just can't at the moment. And Jack and I will discuss that and we'll be very keen on a horse for the Supreme Novice Hurdle come next Tuesday. But I just think that Metier and Soaring Glory, they are, in my opinion, they're underpriced. I don't think they should be the prices that they are. I think they should be, both of them should be double the odds they are at least. And we will tell you why, like I say, next week. But I do think that the Supreme, it does belong to the two at the top of the market with the Irish runners, with Appreciate It and Ballyadam. And looking forward to previewing that next week. But yeah, Jack, a great review there of the Betfair Hurdle, and looking forward to seeing what they might be able to do come Cheltenham. And we'll finish things off today with the Game Spirit Chase, which was won by Sky Royale. Remember, we didn't see Altior in this race, who we were scheduled to see before it was rescheduled. But Sky Royale won this race, a very, very hearty horse who does put in some really decent runs. And he beat Champ. Now, Champ was in there, drifted heavily in the market during the day. I think at one point he hit about 6-1. I don't know what he actually went off in the end, but he did drift markedly in that market. And I thought, God, maybe he's just going to sort of finish, third or fourth and be tailed off. But he did put in an epic performance. It was very good. Shame to see Fanny on Destraval, my nap of the weekend. He did really bomb out. I don't know really what happened, to be fair. As they turned in, he didn't look happy at all, and he was jumping a few a bit sloppily. But Jack, Champ, let's discuss him. Luke Harvey saying that he could potentially go as favouritism for the Gold Cup. I couldn't disagree more. I think he's still got a lot to find with Album Photo. Don't get me wrong, he may have a major chance in the Gold Cup, and he did look really nice. But surely, in your opinion, he's still got a lot to do to beat the likes of Album Photo.
Yeah, I don't really know what Luke Harvey was talking about, if I'm being honest. Being favourite for the Gold Cup after a 2-mile chase. Come on. That is silly. But first of all, of course, So Royal was a brilliant, poignant winner with the loss of Lammy Surge on Saturday. So that was a great winner to see, but it's hard to not look at Champ. But he's back and he's in great order. I mean, he jumped well. He put himself right a couple of times, which is nice to see. He flew the third last as well. Of course, there was a mistake at the last, but there's always a mistake or a heart pumping moment from Champ. But yeah, he's in good order, isn't he? But it's funny to note that I think he's quite similar to Goshen in the fact that they're both riddled with talent. Like on their day, they are untouchable. Let's not forget that. But there's people, myself at times, who much rather go for the consistent option, obviously with Album Photo. But if I'm being honest, I've got him at 12-1 from a long time ago. Would I be touching him at 6-1? No, not really. I think that's a touch short. I mean, I think people got very excited. Yes, he jumps well, but he's jumped well in the past, but he doesn't do it consistently, and that's why he is who he is, and he's champ. And we saw in that RSA that he can do anything. But I think there's one big problem this year, one massive problem, and it's 3 words: no Barry Geraghty. Like, without Barry Geraghty, I mean, Nico de Boinville rode him quite well, but he's not Barry, is he, Sam?
No, and Nico hasn't been in the best of form this season. I think he'd probably admit that as well. But, you know, I still am saying that Champ wouldn't have won that RSA if Barry Geraghty wasn't on board. Barry Geraghty was the reason that horse got up. Don't get me wrong, the horse had the talent, but Barry Geraghty got that horse galvanised to get up that hill like that. And it is going to be very, very difficult for that horse to beat a horse like Albion Photo, who is a consistent performer in a race like that. And, you know, it's going to be a real good race. It'll be interesting to see how Champ does run on the day. I'm guessing that Nico might not ride him in the Gold Cup. I don't know if that's guaranteed. If Santini goes there, you might find out that Nico would ride Santini, and you'd probably find someone like Aidan Coleman, or, you know, even I think Mark Walsh might even get the ride there because he's, you know, there's a leading JP McManus, you know, jockey. There's every chance that could happen. But it'll be very interesting to see. And maybe we should get Luke Harvey on for our preview of the Friday at Cheltenham. Maybe we should get him to do it, because everyone knows that we're going to be all over Albion Photo probably, and trying to find something from outside the field. But it's going to be a real interesting Gold Cup. Now, it's great to see Champ back in working order and putting his name in the picture. But that's it for the Game Spirit Chase. That's it for the weekend roundup. Thanks for joining myself and Jack. Now, we will not be doing a weekend preview this weekend. Not saying the racing is absolutely dire this weekend, but there's nothing really to get too stuck into. And Jack and I are going to be very busy filming our Cheltenham preview videos. Like I say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday next week, there will be a video coming to you guys with reviews from day 1 to day 4 with some real exciting guests. And especially on day 1, we've got an absolute corker of a guest to come. So we're very much looking forward to filming that one and getting that out to you. If you do want to ask any questions with regards to Cheltenham, there's still time to do it. Put them down in the comments. Follow us on Twitter as well. You can tweet us. We're happy to listen to any questions you've got and get them answered on these previews. But like I say, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a very good rest of the week.